Welcome back to Tort Talk, where today we are going through the August Power Rankings with Joe Fantini while Mark is off at the Big Truck and Auto Conference in Chicago. Joe, thanks for joining us. I know we've got a lot of progress that has happened in the world of mass torts over the past week. You excited to get into the Power Rankings?
Hey, it's Mark. Before we dive into this episode, we just want to say that we built RR Digital around one simple idea. Law firms do not need more random marketing activity. They need more signed cases. That's why we handle everything from advertising to social media with a founder-led approach that keeps the strategy tight and the work accountable to a real outcome. Stop chasing vanity metrics and get more cases. Go to rrdigitalmedia.com for more information. Let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, glad to be here with you. Excited to go over the power rankings, kind of give a picture of where we're at right now and what we're thinking we'll see for the rest of 2026.
Let's get right into it. Coming in at number 10, one that has not cracked the top 10 in a very, very long time, we have Tylenol. Fresh off the Second Circuit's decision, we've been hearing a lot of buzz, but really haven't seen much movement yet. Joe, why is this one that people should be paying attention to here at number 10?
Yeah, like you mentioned, we were waiting for almost 2 years to get that decision out of the Second Circuit. It came down in our favor and allowed our experts to come back in. So there's definitely a big fight to still be had about these cases, and we're going against J&J, who we know has a history of dragging all the litigations out. But I feel like this is a good opportunity for people to get involved in this case. Years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, there was so much excitement about this litigation, but there's still a lot of people out there that need help and need representation. So I think it's a good one to get involved with. It's going to be a lengthier one, so I'm not predicting a settlement anytime soon, but in the background, a lot of these cases have been getting worked up in state court, and we got some pretty good evidence on our side.
Yeah, we'll see how it progresses. Hopefully not another major roadblock thrown in our way like we had previously, but nonetheless, still moving forward. Up at number 9, we have Bair Hugger. So there have been rumors that some of these cases have started to settle out. Is now the right time for people to get back into Bair Hugger?
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity right now. This is one of the really mature torts, more than 10 years into it. Basically, we've gotten past the Daubert standard. It really comes down to the specific causation. But like you said, there's rumors out there that some of the cases are starting to resolve. Once you hear that, that piques my interest. So I think there is a good opportunity to get involved in this lesser talk tort that has almost 9,000 cases on file as of today.
Yep, I remember this one from a decade ago. Very interesting product. But here we are, decade later, potentially starting to settle out. A little bit of interest still there. In at number 9 is Bair Hugger. At number 8, we have barred PowerPort. So there was a lot of excitement over the PowerPorts a year to 2 years ago. We're reaching the second trial coming up August 18th. We know that a win here can obviously have huge impact for this case. What's your take on barred PowerPorts as we currently sit?
Yeah, I think it's maybe one of the more challenging cases. I talked about it being similar to the IVC filter litigation that I said wouldn't go great maybe for everybody, but we had the one defense verdict. The second Bellwether case got kicked off the docket. The one that was supposed to be the third trial is coming up. It seems like the facts in this case are maybe a little bit more favorable for the plaintiffs. So I'm thinking we can get a good verdict here, and hopefully that springboards us. There's supposed to be 2 additional Bellwether trials this year. So I think the window until the time of a settlement is going to be not that long. So getting some cases right now could be a good opportunity to get involved.
Coming in at number 7, we have Roblox. So bunch of excitement about Roblox earlier this year. It's quieted down a bit due to some discussions between the parties about arbitration clauses. What's your current take on Roblox?
I was thinking in the beginning it'd be a much more active litigation. I think there's about 170 cases filed in the MDL. Really a lot of fighting going on whether or not these arbitration clauses are enforceable. We had one decision in our favor to come out of California, but that's still really holding everything up. While that's going on, there's been a special master appointed to help mediate settlements. So we'll see really how it goes from there. But basically, I think you can get involved. There's been some maybe state level action where we've gotten some of the states to recover tens of millions of dollars. So I think the liability picture is pretty strong, but coming across these individual cases have been a little bit more challenging. I don't see this one, dragging out as long as some of the other social media cases. So another pretty decent time to get involved.
I think Roblox is one of those cases where there's just so much visibility and mainstream excitement over the potential of there being something there that sort of flywheels itself and sort of gets ahead of the litigation instead of kind of following the path of potential resolution. There was just so much activity in Roblox earlier this year, and we still have some of these legal hurdles to jump through. So we'll see where that winds up going. Hopefully, we make some progress before the end of the year. Coming up at number 6, we have Olympus Scope. We've been talking a lot about Olympus Scope and the infections that have potentially been caused by those scopes for people going in for a variety of different procedures. Still early on in this litigation, is this the hottest tort going into MTMP?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the bell of the ball over at MTMP. We had a little bit of excitement earlier this year. We haven't seen the JPML petition yet. It's the really first emerging new tort that's on our power rankings here. So I think there's an opportunity to get cases. They're still out there. The more sophisticated, advanced law firms are definitely getting a lot of these cases. I'm thinking tens of thousands of cases at the end of the day. So good chance to get them now. I think we'll see a spike in interest and activity in 2 to 3 months. So now's a good window to definitely get involved. This case will be around for a couple years.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with you. We've been hearing very similar things, just a lot of activity, people going out there and attempting to acquire large amounts of cases. This is one of those where there's just so much volume. The incidence rate is so high that I think now is the opportunity to get in. And if there is something for this to sort of progress towards in the future, inevitably those costs are going to end up rising years from now. So if you understand the science here and you think this is one that really has some legs to it, I would say now is a decent time for you to evaluate getting involved before it gets too tough to really get a good case in at a decent price. Coming in at number 5, we have weight loss drugs. So this is moving up one spot in the rankings to number 5. We actually have 2 different lines of cases here. There's the gastro cases as well as the vision loss cases with about 4,000 filings already. How big can this case actually become? And do you think that both tracks have potential?
To answer your second question, both tracks are looking pretty good. I just saw a study come out of Australia where their regulators required a warning now on these GLP-1s for the NAION eye injury vision loss cases. So I'd expect we end up seeing a similar warning here in the US in the next year or so. Those cases are much harder to come by, but the liability picture seems pretty strong there. The more prevalent cases are these gastrointestinal injuries. We're seeing a steady filing of these cases. So I think we can end up having this be a pretty significant mass tort, more than 10,000 at the end of the day. So this is one where people definitely can go out. There's definitely cases out there to get. So this is still a somewhat emerging tort. You have a little bit more time, a lot more time to get involved in this one.
Coming in at number 4, we have video game addiction. Another one of these cases that we had a bunch of buzz about a little over a year ago, sort of died down, kind of flying under the radar right now. Are you hearing good things about this litigation? Is it progressing in a positive way?
I'm hearing great things about this litigation. So I don't want to be the one to let the cat out of the bag, but if I was involved in mass torts or if I had a PI practice or a family law or social security disability practice where I had a lot of clients, I'd be signing them up for video game addiction and social media addiction. But these cases are progressing along. We've been hearing about this case for maybe 5 years now. So I think there's opportunity to get involved. I think these cases are going to be compensable at the end of the day. A little bit less excitement because we have no MDL, but there is a consolidated action out in California State Court. So I would encourage people to get involved in this one. Seems like there's definitely opportunity out there.
I don't want to say you heard it here first, but you heard it here loud and clear from Joe. Video game addiction, definitely one to evaluate. Number 4 on the August Power Rankings. With video game addiction, really with any case type, if you have questions about where the cases that you may have in your docket should be going, I recommend reach out to Joe. Like, he will answer your emails, he will answer your questions. Reach out to him on LinkedIn, send him an email. I hope I'm not encouraging people too much, Joe, to stuff your inbox with notes, but I think you're a good resource for people to reach out to.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to speak to anybody. Part of the reason why we do this is to, make it so mass torts isn't some hidden secret that nobody knows anything about. I'm happy to share information. Somebody just messaged me when we were getting on here about a hernia mesh case. So if I know, I'm happy to share my information with you, but get the video game addiction cases and thank me later.
All right, we are entering the top 3. Coming in at number 3, we have Uber sexual abuse cases. So they're still in the top 3. They were in the top 3 last time. The liability seems pretty clear, especially after the decisions that we had in previous trials. New cases are getting harder and harder to come by. Hopefully that's just because there's less of an incidence of this actually happening. But there are thousands of people who have already been affected by this. What do you think is going to happen with this case as we end the year? Is this something that can actually get resolved? And how does this potentially affect the newer Lyft MDL?
Yeah, so I think there are cases out there. I think the liability picture is really strong right now. I think that we've heard reports of hundreds of cases settling at this point. So the really strong ones definitely won't be going to jury anytime soon. So I think we hear a settlement. That's kind of the idea on the cases in the top 3. These are ones that I think the settlements are looming. When we get one, whether it's 2026 or in the next 6 months, it really depends litigation by litigation. But if you can get a case, any of these Uber cases, really deserving clients, get it on file quick. You really need to have that proof of the ride and the proof of the report, whether it's the Uber or police report. But if you have that evidence, it's the same requirement in Lyft. So I think these cases don't hang on, this time next year in 2027. They've made a lot of changes to their platform. So definitely get the cases on file. But I think we'll be hearing about a settlement in this one maybe in the next 6 months.
That would be fantastic, especially if they've actually put things in place to prevent this from happening any further. That would be ideal. We need to protect people. It's a dangerous environment, and hearing that we're moving towards a settlement looks like we're moving in the right direction. So entering the top 2, coming in at number 2, we have hair relaxer. Is it a similar story here? Is this the next one to settle out?
Yeah, I think it is. A trend that you see in mass torts is similar type cases settle, around the same time. So we heard about the talcum powder settlement, really similar type demographic, similar type of injuries. So this one is really getting right for a settlement. I think there's a lot of excitement. We're coming up on 12,000 cases. It's really just coming down to which injuries, which of the 3 cancers, ovarian, uterine, and endometrial, which one's going to be viable. But if you have cases, make sure you get them on file now. I think we're going to have a settlement in this case shortly. We definitely won't be seeing a Bellwether trial. So this is another one towards the top that I would be trying to get my cases now and get them on file.
The first 9 that we've talked about, the consistent theme here is that we are making progress and moving towards potential settlement on a number of fronts. So these power rankings, Joe, the intention here is what? What does it mean for something to be on the power rankings list? What is the insinuation for those who are watching?
Yeah, these are the cases I would be acquiring right now. So the ones towards the top you see, they're really mature. They're getting ready to pop. They're getting ready to settle. The ones, in the middle of the pack there, we have like one emerging one in endoscope ones, but the risk is a little bit greater than the ones at the top, and it's going to be a little bit longer tail. And then towards the bottom, we have Tylenol, which is going to be a longer time. So these are cases that I think are all viable. These are all going to be compensable at the end of the day. And these are the ones you should really be focusing in on right now when you're working your docket, you're working your clients.
Before we crack number one, as always, we're going to go through ones to watch, the ones that have not yet cracked the top 10, but at least you should be keeping an eye on. First, I'm going to start with Kratom. I may even be pronouncing that wrong. There's been a lot of discussions about this litigation. I've heard some grumblings about it as well. No MDL formed yet. What are you hearing about this litigation, Joe?
Yeah, we've seen a bunch of one-off cases being filed. Some wrongful death cases have settled. You know, they're our standard type of product liability case, right? Defective design, failure to warn. And so I'm hearing more and more about this. I don't think we're going to have an MDL here in 2026, but I think in 27 we will. And these are pretty severe injury cases. So a year ago, most people were turning them down. Now I think most people are getting them. So if you're coming across them, I would encourage you to keep them, investigate them, because I think we'll have an MDL next year in this litigation.
Another one to watch is gambling addiction. Interesting. There's a bunch of different potential defendants here. Another potential issue with arbitration clauses. Do you think this actually can turn into a mass tort and be consolidated?
I think it will. So this one is taking a little bit of a different posture than, say, Roblox, where we got the MDL and then we're fighting over the procedural aspects of it. It seems like the procedural fight is going on first here, outside of a consolidated action. And we're really learning the defenses, the arguments, how different courts are viewing it. But I know there's a lot of people out there that had problems. But just think about it. This falls into our kind of tech stack litigation where we have half of the top 10 is consumed by this. So it shows you that the mass tort world has changed from a medication to a device to a consumer product to now it's tech focus. So just because it has that aspects, I think we'll end up having some sort of consolidation, whether it's in California or Philadelphia State Court, maybe an MDL next year. So these are two that you guys keep an eye out on. The really sophisticated, advanced mass tort firms, they're getting cases in both of these litigations. So if you like to get cases early, get involved, now's a good time. But I'd say for most of our listeners, probably a little bit risky to get involved in these two right now.
I think you've given some great advice previously. If you're a personal injury firm who's sort of dipping your toe into the mass tort world, these are great cases to just evaluate your existing client base, send some emails out, post some social media, right? Retarget your existing audience and see if you have anyone who's been affected, not only by the ones to watch, but any of the ones on this list. You may find some cases in there and you may find some great ones. So speaking of tech, we're going to roll into number one, Joe. Coming in at number one, I'll let you do the honors, is
social media addiction. What else could it possibly be? We've been talking about it.
What else could it be?
We've been talking about it for a long time. I know you guys have really been involved, helping generate some of these cases, helping the firms at the forefront. But if anybody's listening to this, please get the cases. There's plenty of cases out there. The criteria is pretty set. We've had a big verdict. We've had settlements in other cases. We've had school districts settle out. We've had an attorney general from New Mexico get awarded almost $1 billion. We have a trial starting with 4 AGs. I mean, the pressure is there for these cases to really get resolved. So it's just really not a question of if, it's just when. When are these cases going to settle? And so if you have them, sign up your clients, like Jon said, reach out to your existing pool of clients or former clients. These clients that know, like, and trust you. If they have a minor child, it's likely that they were impacted. So this will stay at the number one spot probably through the end of the year until we get a settlement. Then we'll have to adjust our list. But get the social media addiction cases. The liability picture couldn't be any stronger.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if you are interested in acquiring cases and don't know where to go, reach out to me, reach out to Mark. We could help you with that, whether it's generating cases from your own client base, as Joe has been speaking about, or us running some marketing campaigns for you to help generate the cases and sign them up as well. We can help you with that. This has been another great episode of Tort Talk. I always love it when we do the Power Rankings, Joe. Thank you for bringing all the intel. Next week, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled news, of which There has already been some news this week that we'll be touching on next week in Tort Talk. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week on Tort Talk.